It is 2 in the morning when the phone buzzes on my nightstand. I open my eyes slowly, still trapped in that dream where my late husband Arthur was making me coffee, just like he used to every Sunday. The screen illuminates my small bedroom with a cold light that makes me squint. It is Julian, my son. I answer without thinking too much because a call at this hour can only mean one thing: emergency. His voice comes through agitated, almost breathless, as if he had just run a marathon. Mom. Mom, I need you to listen to me. I am in serious trouble. Your card was declined at the hotel. I need $9,000 right now or they aren't going to let me leave. They are threatening to call the police. Please, Mom, you have to send the money now. I sit up in bed. The mattress cacks a little, that familiar sound that has accompanied me for 15 years. I look around my room at the cream-colored walls I painted myself 3 summers ago. The dresser inherited from my mother with its worn handles. The photo of Arthur in a silver frame next to the electric candle I always keep on. I take a deep breath. I feel the cold, early morning air drifting in through the window I left ajar. Julian keeps talking, his voice rising in volume, mixing, pleading with demanding. Mom, are you listening? Caroline is here with me. She's crying. Imagine the humiliation. The hotel manager practically has us detained at the front desk. This is a 5-star resort in Las Vegas. You cannot let us go through this embarrassment. Just send the money and we will fix it tomorrow. I close my eyes. I see the image of Julian at 5 years old running toward me with skinned knees after falling off his bicycle. I see him at 12, hugging me tight the day his father died, promising me we would always be together. I see him at 25, introducing me to Caroline with that nervous smile, asking me to treat her like a daughter. I open my eyes again. The reality is this: a phone vibrating in the dark, a voice demanding money as if it were my obligation, as if I were an ATM without feelings or needs of my own. Mom, for the love of God, say something. I need that money now. My account is empty because we just paid for the trip and the shows. I thought your card had enough of a limit. You've always had money to help us. You can't abandon me like this. My hand tightens around the phone. I feel the warm plastic against my palm. Outside, I hear the distant bark of a dog, the hum of a car passing on the wet street. It must have rained while I slept. The smell of damp earth drifts in through the window. I think about all the times I have sent money. I think about the signed checks the transfers made at 3 Zars in the afternoon. On any given Tuesday, the envelopes handed over with a smile that was never reciprocated. I think about Julian and Caroline's wedding 15 years ago when I paid for the entire country club reception because they wanted something elegant. $15,000 that I took from my savings, from the money Arthur and I had put away for our old age. I remember the day I wrote that check. I was sitting at my kitchen table, the pen trembling a little in my hand. Julian hugged me and said, "Mom, you are the best. I promise we will make it up to you." They never did. After that came the down payment on their house. $30,000 I paid when Julian arrived, telling me they had found the perfect colonial in the suburbs, but the bank required a larger down payment. It is an investment, Mom. It is our future. Caroline is pregnant with Mia. We need space for our family. I always paid the new car. When theirs broke down, $8,000. The living room furniture, because what they had was already outdated, $4,000. The trip to Europe for their 10-year anniversary, $6,000. The high-end laptop Julian needed for his work, $6,000. Mia's private school uniforms and tuition, thousands and thousands of dollars every year. And here I am in my 2-bedroom apartment, where the heater sometimes fails in winter with my television from 12 years ago, that has a green line in the corner with my refrigerator that has been making a strange noise since last summer, but keeps running, so I do not replace it with my comfortable shoes bought on clearance because the others hurt my feet. But I could not bring myself to spend $150 on new ones. Mom, are you hearing me or not? The manager is losing patience. Caroline is hysterical. This is your responsibility. You gave me that authorized user card. You told me to use it in emergencies. Well, this is an emergency. Call your wife, I say. My voice comes out calm, almost indifferent. I hang up before hearing his response. I turn off the phone. I leave it face down on the nightstand. I lie back down. I adjust the pillow under my head, close my eyes. The silence returns to my room like a soft blanket. I feel my heart beating slowly, steady, strong. I fall asleep thinking about the coffee I'm going to make tomorrow, the toast with strawberry jam I bought on Saturday, the show I missed tonight. I sleep without guilt. I sleep deeply. I sleep like I haven't slept in years. I wake up with the sunlight streaming through the window. It is 8 in the morning. I stretch slowly, feeling my bones creak with that familiar sound of 72 years well lived. I get up, put on the brown slippers Mia gave me 2 Christmases ago. I walk to the kitchen. I put water on to boil for my coffee. The smell comforts me, brings me back to Arthur, brings back quiet Sundays when we were young and the world seemed full of promises. While I wait for the water to boil, I look out my kitchen window. Mrs. Higgins from the apartment across the way is walking her poodle like every morning. An orange tabby cat walks along the fence with that perfect balance only cats have. The sky is clear, that deep azure color that promises a hot day. I make my coffee with 2 spoonfuls of sugar just the way I like it. I take out the bread I bought yesterday, toast it a little, spread butter and jam. I sit at my small round table, the one Arthur and I bought at a flea market 30 years ago. The wood is worn. It has stains that no cleaning product has been able to remove, but it is mine. It is ours. I eat slowly. I chew every bite. I savor my coffee. I do not turn on the television. I do not check the phone I left turned off. I just enjoy this moment of silence. This moment where no one asks me for anything. No one demands anything. No one makes me feel that my only function in this world is to open my wallet. I finish my breakfast. I wash the dishes. I dry each one with care. Put them in their place. Everything has an order in my kitchen, a system I have perfected during decades of living alone. Arthur died 20 years ago. 20 years of learning to be by myself, of cooking for one, of sleeping in a bed that feels too big, of making decisions without consulting anyone. 20 years of being the mom who solves problems. 20 years of being my son's personal bank. I turn on the phone. I expected this. 37 missed calls, 22 text messages, all from Julian, some from Caroline. I do not even open them. I know exactly what they say. Please, demands, guilt. The perfect recipe to make me feel like the worst mother in the world. I leave the phone on the table and walk to my bedroom. I open the closet, that small space where I keep my clothes organized by color. I take a shoebox from the top shelf. There are no shoes inside. There are papers, documents, memories that hurt. I sit on the bed with the box in my lap. I open the lid slowly as if there were something fragile inside that could break. The first thing I see is the check for the wedding, a photocopy I made just in case. $15,000 paid to the Botanical Gardens, the venue where Julian and Caroline celebrated their love, with 200 guests, an open bar, a 5-course banquet, a live band, and fireworks at the end. I was not part of the planning. Caroline wanted everything to be perfect, everything to be elegant, for everyone to talk about her wedding for years. And so it was. It was beautiful. It was expensive. It was paid for by me while I wore the same beige suit I had bought for my cousin's wedding 3 years prior. I pull out another paper, the contract for the house, Julian and Caroline's signatures. And below my name as the co-signer, $30,000 for the down payment that came out of the account Arthur left for me for my old age, for real emergencies. Julian promised me he would pay it back in 2 years. It has been 14. I have never seen a single dollar back. I keep looking. Transfer receipts, one from March of last year, $3,000 for roof repairs, one from July, $2,500 for the car, one from October, $1,800 for Mia's university books, one from December, $4,000 for the holiday parties because Caroline wanted to host a memorable dinner. I count mentally. I add up every paper, every receipt, every check. The numbers dance before my eyes. 60, 70, 80. I reach $120,000. $120,000 that I have given to my son in the last 15 years. Money that came out of my pension from Arthur's savings, from the life insurance I collected, when he died from the overtime hours I worked as a secretary until I retired at 65. $120,000. And I have never received an invitation to dinner at their house. I have never received a birthday gift that wasn't bought at the last minute at a gas station. I have never received a hug that didn't come accompanied by a request for money. I put the papers back in the box. I close it. I put it back on the top shelf of the closet. I close the door carefully. I look at myself in the mirror attached to the inside of the door. I see a 72-year-old woman, short, practical gray hair, deep wrinkles around the eyes and mouth hands, spotted by age with prominent veins, a body that has worked hard, that has given life, that has supported others while forgetting to support itself. I look into my eyes, those dark brown eyes that Julian inherited. I wonder when was the last time I really looked at myself? When was the last time I saw myself as something more than a provider, as something more than a solution to other people's problems? The phone vibrates in the other room. I am not going to answer. Not yet. I need this moment. I need this silence. I need this clarity I am feeling for the first time in decades. I leave my bedroom. I walk to the living room. I sit in my favorite armchair, that olive green one that Caroline hates. It is old. I know. The cushions are sunken in the places where I sit the most. The fabric is worn on the arms, but it is comfortable. It is mine. No one else wants it, so no one is going to take it from me. I pick up the remote. I turn on the television. I put on the news channel. I need to hear something. I need to fill this space with voices that do not know me, that ask nothing of me, that simply exist. The news speaks of politics, of the economy, of an accident on the highway. I listen halfway. My mind is elsewhere. It is in that hotel in Las Vegas where my son and daughter-in-law are having a difficult moment, a moment they created, a moment I am not going to solve. The phone rings again. This time it is a call, not a message. I look at the screen. It isn't Julian. It is an unknown number, a number with a Las Vegas area code. I answer. Good morning. Am I speaking with Mrs. Eleanor Brooks? Yes, this is she, Mrs. Brooks. This is Officer Miller from the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. I am calling regarding your son, Julian Brooks. He was detained this morning for theft of services. The resort pressed charges after he and his wife attempted to leave the premises without settling a bill of $9,200. Officer Miller has a firm but polite voice. He explains the situation with that professional tone used by people accustomed to delivering bad news. Julian and Carolyn are being held at the station. The hotel pushed for formal charges. There is a legal process that must be followed. They can settle the debt plus an additional fine of $2,000 or face a court date that could take weeks. Mrs. Brooks, Your son gave us your number as an emergency contact. He says you can resolve this situation. We need you to come to the station or make an immediate wire transfer to cover the costs and fines. It is $11,200 in total." I look out the window. The orange cat is still on the fence now, licking its paw with absolute concentration. Mrs. Higgins has finished walking her dog and is now watering her window box. The world keeps turning. Life goes on. Everything continues regardless of the drama occurring 2,000 meters away. Officer Miller. I appreciate the call. My son is a 40-year-old adult. He made the decision to go to that hotel. He made the decision to spend money he did not have. Those are his decisions and his consequences. I am not going to pay. There's a silence on the other end of the line. I can hear voices in the background, the squawk of a police radio, someone laughing. The officer clears his throat uncomfortably. "Ma'am, I understand your position, but you must understand that your son could spend several days in custody. The legal process here can be complicated. If you could reconsider, I will not reconsider. Julian has a wife. Caroline has family. They can solve their problem. I have already solved too many." I hang up before the officer can say anything else. My hands do not shake. My heart beats calmly. I feel something strange in my chest, something I hadn't felt in years. It takes a moment to identify it. It is relief. It is freedom. It is the weight of decades falling off my shoulders like a heavy coat. I finally take off. The phone explodes with messages. I read them one by one, each word like a knife that no longer hurts because the skin has become too tough, too tired of bleeding. Julian. Mom. The police said you aren't going to pay. How can you do this to me? I am your son, Caroline. Eleanor. This is unbelievable. You have us locked up here like criminals. What kind of mother are you, Julian? They are going to move me to a cell. There are dangerous people here. Is that what you want? For your son to be in danger, Caroline. My mother would never do something like this to me. She actually knows what family love is. Julian, you paid for everything for us for years, and now that I really need you, you abandon me. You are a hypocrite. I turn off the phone again. I leave it on the table. I get up from the armchair and walk to my bedroom. I open the drawer of my nightstand, the one I always keep locked. Inside is an old hardcover notebook, chocolate brown. It is my journal. I started writing in it when Arthur died, when I needed to talk to someone, and there was no one. I sit on the bed with the notebook in my hands. I turn the pages slowly. I read entries from years ago. I read about the day Julian asked me for money for the wedding. I read about the time I arrived at their house with a cake for his birthday, and Caroline didn't let me in because they were busy. I read about the Christmas I spent alone because they went to Caroline's parents' house in Connecticut, and I wasn't invited. I read about every forgotten birthday, every ignored call, every broken promise. There is an entry from 3 years ago that stops me. The handwriting is shaky, written after midnight when I couldn't sleep. It says, "Today Julian turned 37. I sent him $1,000 for his gift. He called me for 2 minutes. He just said, 'Thanks, Mom. I have to go. Caroline is waiting for me.' He hung up. He didn't ask how I am. He didn't ask if I need anything. He didn't ask anything. Sometimes I wonder if I am his mother or his bank. Sometimes I wonder if he loves me or only loves my money." I close the notebook. I put it back in the drawer. I lock it. I sit on the bed staring at the wall. There is a water stain in the upper corner that I have been ignoring because fixing it costs money. Money I have used to fix other people's problems while my own roof falls apart. I get up. I walk to the living room. I take my purse. I take out my wallet. Inside is the credit card, the one that has Julian as an authorized user. The card he has used for years for his purchases, his trips, his whims. The card that was just declined in Las Vegas because I lowered the limit 2 months ago. Tired of seeing charges he never consults me about, I pick up the landline in my living room. I dial the bank number printed on the back of the card. An automated voice gives me options. I press numbers until I hear a human voice. Good afternoon. This is Sandra from customer service. How can I help you? Good afternoon, Sandra. My name is Eleanor Brooks. I need to cancel an authorized user card associated with my account. Of course, Mrs. Brooks, can you provide the number of the card you wish to cancel? I give her the number. I hear the clicking of a computer on the other side. Perfect. I see here that this card is in the name of Julian Brooks. Are you sure you wish to cancel it? Completely sure. Understood. The card will be canceled within the next 2 hours. Is there anything else I can help you with? Yes, I want to remove Julian Brooks as a beneficiary of any automatic transfers I have set up on my account. Let me check. I see you have a monthly automatic transfer of $2,500 that deposits into account ending in $3,421. Do you wish to cancel this transfer? Yes, cancel it, please. Are you completely sure? This action is irreversible. I am sure. Very well. The automatic transfer has been canceled. Anything else, Mrs. Brooks? No, that is all. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Have an excellent day. I hang up. I stand in the middle of my living room, phone still in hand. I feel something strange running through my body. It isn't guilt. It isn't regret. It is power. It is control. It is the sensation of finally taking the reins of my own life after years of letting others drive. I look at the wall clock Arthur bought on a trip to San Francisco. It is 11 in the morning. I have the whole day ahead of me. The whole day for me. I make myself another coffee. This time, I have a chocolate cookie I bought a week ago that I was saving for a special occasion. Today is a special occasion. Today is the day I decided my life belongs to me. I sit in the armchair with my coffee and my cookie. I turn on the television. I change channels until I find an old black and white movie. It is one of those Arthur loved with those actors with deep voices and those elegant actresses. Casablanca. I leave it on even though I don't pay much attention. The phone vibrates again. This time, it is a different number. I recognize it. It is Caroline's mother, Catherine. A woman who has always treated me with that cold courtesy that hides contempt. A woman who has always thought her daughter married beneath her station, even though she never says it directly. I answer, Eleanor, it's Catherine. Caroline called me crying from Las Vegas. She told me what is happening. She told me you are refusing to help. I need you to understand the gravity of the situation. Good morning, Catherine. I understand the situation perfectly. Then you will understand that you need to send that money immediately. They are your son and daughter-in-law. They are family. They are adults capable of taking their own decisions, and decisions have consequences. Catherine's voice hardens on the other end of the line. I can imagine her in her elegant house in Connecticut, sitting in her living room with imported furniture, her coffee served in fine china, looking out her bay windows at the garden perfectly manicured by the landscaper who comes 3 times a week. Eleanor. I don't know what is wrong with you, but this is unacceptable. My daughter is suffering. She is locked in a police station as if she were a delinquent, and all because you decided to throw a tantrum at your age. It isn't a tantrum, Catherine. It is a decision. The first decision I have made for myself in 15 years. Well, it is a selfish and cruel decision. Do you know how many times Caroline has told me how generous you are? How many times she has defended you when I say Julian depends too much on you, and now it turns out it was all a lie. That in the moment that really matters, you abandon your family. I take a deep breath. I feel the anger starting to boil in my stomach, but I force myself to keep my voice calm. I am not going to give her the pleasure of seeing me upset. I am not going to give her the pleasure of making me feel guilty. Catherine, for 15 years, I have paid for practically everything in your daughter and my son's life. I paid for their wedding while you complained that the venue wasn't elegant enough. I paid the down payment on their house while you criticized that the neighborhood wasn't exclusive enough. I paid for their cars, their vacations, their furniture, Mia's school. I paid for it all while living in an apartment where the heater fails and moisture stains the walls. No one forced you to do that, Eleanor. If you did it, it was because you wanted to, because it is your obligation as a mother. Children are for life. You are right. No one forced me. I did it because I love them, because I thought it was my duty, because every time Julian called me with a problem, I ran to fix it. But you know what, Catherine? Love cannot be one-sided. Love cannot be me giving and them taking. Love cannot be me sacrificing myself while they live as if they had all the money in the world. Oh, please, Eleanor, how dramatic you have become. This isn't about love. It is about responsibility. Julian is your son. Period. You brought him into this world, and it is your responsibility to take care of him. Julian is 40 years old. Catherine, 40. He isn't a child. He isn't a teenager. He is a grown man with a wife and a daughter. It is time he starts solving his own problems. Well, if you aren't going to help, I will. I'm going to send the money right now. And when they return, we are going to have a very serious conversation about your attitude. Perfect, Catherine. Send the money. Solve the problem for them. But when they call you in 3 months asking for more when they have another emergency in 6 months when they need another bailout in a year, remember this conversation. Remember I warned you. I hang up before she can respond. My hands are shaking a little now. Not from fear, not from guilt, from rage contained for years, from frustration stored in every ignored call, in every forgotten birthday, and every time I was treated as a means to an end. I walk to the kitchen. I need to move. I need to do something with this energy boiling inside me. I open the refrigerator. There is chicken I bought 2 days ago. There are vegetables. There is rice. I decide to cook. Cooking has always calmed me. The process of chopping, seasoning, mixing flavors returns me to a place of control. I put music on the radio, a station playing old jazz. Arthur loved jazz. We used to dance in this very kitchen on Sunday afternoons when Julian was small and laughed, watching us spin between the stove and the refrigerator. I chop onions. The tears that come out aren't just for the onion. They are for the lost years, for the wasted opportunities, for the version of myself I forgot. Somewhere along the way, while I became the mom who fixes everything, I chop tomatoes, garlic peppers. I put oil in the pan. I hear the sizzle when I throw in the vegetables. The smell fills my kitchen. It is a smell of home, of life, of normally. The phone rings again. I ignore it. It keeps ringing, insistent, annoying. Finally, I pick it up. It is Mia, my granddaughter. The only person in that family who sometimes calls me just to ask how I am. Grandma. Hello, sweetie. Grandma. Mom just called me. She's crying. She told me what happened. She told me Dad and her are detained. She told me you don't want to help. That is right, Mia. I am not going to help this time. There is a long silence. I hear Mia's breathing on the other end. She is 19. She is in college pre-med because she wants to help people. She is a good girl. She has her grandfather's heart. Grandma, can I ask you something without you getting mad? Of course, sweetie. Ask whatever you want. Why now? Why, after so many years, did you decide not to help? Just now, I sit in the kitchen chair. The pan is still sizzling on the stove, but for a moment, I ignore it. This question deserves an honest answer. Mia, do you know how much money I have given your dad in these 15 years? No, Grandma. We never talk about that at home. $20,000, maybe more. I lost count a long time ago. $20,000 that came out of my pension, from the savings your grandfather left for me, from the life insurance I collected when he died, money I should have used for my old age, for my needs, for my peace of mind. Grandma. I didn't know it was that much. I know, sweetie. No one knows because I never said it, because every time your dad called me, I just said yes. Every time he needed something, I just paid. I became the automatic solution to every problem. And you know what happened, Mia? I stopped being a person. I stopped being Eleanor. I became Julian's mom, Mia's grandmother, Caroline's mother-in-law, but never myself. I hear a soft sob on the other end of the line. Grandma, I am so sorry. I haven't treated you like I should have either. I also only call you when I need something, when I need money for books or to go out with my friends. I am just like them. No, sweetie. You are different. You at least call me on my birthday. You at least ask me how I am every once in a while. You at least see me as a person and not a bank. But it isn't enough, Grandma. I haven't been fair to you. None of us have. I turn off the stove. The vegetables are cooked. The aroma fills the kitchen, but I am no longer hungry. I get up. I walk to the window. The orange cat is no longer on the fence. Mrs. Higgins is no longer on her balcony. The world continues its course indifferent to my personal drama. Mia, can I tell you something I have never told anyone? Of course, Grandma. Anything. When your grandfather died, I was devastated. Not just because I loved him, but because I realized I no longer had a purpose. Your parents were married. You were small, but they took care of you. I was alone in this apartment wondering what I was still here for. And then your dad started asking for help. First a little, then more and more. And I clung to that because it gave me a purpose. It made me feel necessary. It made me feel useful, Grandma. But being necessary is not the same as being loved, Mia. Being useful is not the same as being valued. It took me 20 years to understand that. It took a call at 2 a.m. demanding $9,000 to finally see it clearly. Your dad doesn't love me. He needs me. And there is a huge difference between those two things. Grandma, I do love you. I swear. I know, sweetie. And I love you. But I need you to understand something. What I am doing isn't to punish your dad. It isn't to make him suffer. It is to save myself. It is to recover what is left of my life before it is too late. What are you going to do? Grandma, I am going to live, Mia. I am going to live for me. I am going to use my money on myself. I am going to do the things I always wanted to do, but put off because there was always someone else who needed that money. I am going to travel. I am going to buy new clothes. I am going to fix up my apartment. I am going to go to the theater. I am going to eat in restaurants. I am going to live. That sounds fair, Grandma. I think you deserve it. Thank you, sweetie. That means a lot to me. Grandma. One last thing. Grandma Catherine already sent the money. Dad and Mom are going to get out today. They are coming back tomorrow and they are going to be furious with you. I know, Mia. I am prepared. Do you need me to come see you? Do you want me to be there when they arrive? No, sweetie. This is something I have to face alone. But thank you for asking. Thank you for caring. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, my girl. Take care. I hang up. I stay standing by the window with the phone in my hand. The sun is already high. It is hot. It is a beautiful day, a perfect day to start over. I spend the rest of the day in a strange calm. I finish cooking my meal. I serve myself a generous plate. I eat slowly at my table, savoring every bite as if it were the first time I tasted real food. I do not turn on the television. I do not check the phone. I just eat in silence, listening to the sounds of my building. The woman upstairs dragging furniture. The children next door playing and laughing, the daily life that has always been there, but that I never stop to listen to. After eating, I wash the dishes. I dry each one with care. I put them away. I clean the stove until it shines. I sweep the kitchen floor. I do all these mundane tasks with an almost ceremonial attention, as if every action were an act of reclamation. This is my space. This is my life. These are my decisions. When I finish in the kitchen, I walk to my bedroom. I open the closet again. This time, I do not take out the box of receipts. I pull out the old suitcase that is in the back. The suitcase Arthur and I used for our trips. It is covered in dust. It has stickers from places we visited together. San Francisco, the Grand Canyon, Cape Cod. Modest but happy trips. Trips we stopped taking when Julian was born because all our money went to diapers and milk and school and clothes. I put the suitcase on the bed. I open it. It smells stale, like stalled time. Inside is a scarf Arthur gave me on our last trip together. I take it out. I hold it against my chest. The smell is gone, but the memory is there. The memory of his hands putting it around my neck. The memory of his smile when he told me that color looked beautiful on me. I put the scarf away again. I close the suitcase. I leave it on the bed. Tomorrow I'm going to start planning. I'm going to decide where I want to go. I'm going to use my money on myself. I am going to make the dreams come true that I kept in a drawer while I paid for the dreams of others. The phone vibrates. It is a message from Julian. He is out. He is free. Thanks to Catherine. Thanks to someone else solving his problem. The message says, "Mom, we are out. We had a horrible time because of you. I hope you are happy. We arrive in the city tomorrow and you are going to have to give a lot of explanations. I cannot believe you did this to us." I do not respond. I block the number. I know he will find other ways to contact me, but for now, I need this silence. I need this space without his demands, without his complaints, without his voice telling me I am a bad mother. I block Caroline's number and Catherine's too. I leave only Mia's. She is the only one who deserves direct access to me right now. I sit on the bed. I look around my room, the walls that need paint, the bedside lamp that flickers sometimes, the worn rug next to the bed. Everything needs renovation. Everything needs attention, just like me. I take my laptop. It is old. I bought it 5 years ago on sale. It is slow, but it works. I turn it on. I wait for it to load. I open the browser. I type in the search bar. Senior Travel Groups USA. Dozens of results appear. Tours to Charleston. Tours to Savannah. Tours to Santa Fe. Tours to the national parks. Beautiful places I always wanted to see, but that always stayed on the someday list. Someday when I have time, someday when I have money, someday that never came, because there was always an emergency of Julian's to attend to. I click on one of the tours. Santa Fe, New Mexico, 10 days. Includes hotel meals, transportation guide visits to ancient PBLO traditional cooking classes, tours of art markets. It costs $3, $200. It is expensive. It is a lot of money. It is more than I have spent on myself in the last 5 years combined. I click reserve. I fill out the form with my information. Name, age, email, phone. I get to the payment part. I stop. My finger is on the mouse. I just need to click. I just need to confirm the purchase. But something stops me. A little voice in my head. The same voice that has stopped me for years. The voice that says, "What if Julian needs that money? What if there is a real emergency? What if you regret it?" I close my eyes. I breathe deep. I hear another voice, a voice I had forgotten. Arthur's voice, the voice that told me every birthday, "Eleanor, you have to do something for yourself. You have to treat yourself. Life is short, my love. Don't wait until it is too late." I open my eyes. I click confirm purchase. I enter my credit card details. the one that no longer has Julian as an authorized user, the one that is only mine now. I click pay, processing, processing, processing. Purchase confirmed. I get an email. Booking confirmation. Santa Fe, New Mexico. 10 days. Departure in 3 weeks. Single room. All-inclusive. My name on the ticket. Only my name, no one else. I feel something hot rolling down my cheeks. They are tears, but not of sadness. They are tears of liberation, of joy, of terror, of excitement. They are tears of a woman who has just done something only for herself, for the first time in decades. I wipe my tears. I smile. I cannot stop smiling. I am going to Santa Fe. I'm going to see new places. I am going to eat delicious food. I am going to walk through adobe streets. I am going to buy art. I am going to take photos. I am going to live. I close the laptop. I get out of bed. I walk to the mirror. I look at myself again. That 72-year-old woman stares back at me. But now there is something different in her eyes. There is light. There is hope. There is determination. I speak to myself out loud. Eleanor, this is just the beginning. You are going to reclaim your life. You are going to be happy. You are going to live for yourself. The rest of the afternoon I spend researching. I read about Santa Fe, about its traditions, its food, its art. I read travel blogs. I look at photos of Bandelier National Monument of Tao, PBLO, of the markets full of colors. Each photo excites me more. Each description makes me wish the 3 weeks would fly by. When it gets dark, I prepare a simple dinner. Toast with cheese and apple chamomile tea. I sit in my favorite armchair. I turn on the television. It's a Wonderful Life is playing. I have seen it 1,000 times, but I don't care. I leave it on while I eat my quiet dinner. At 9 at night, I get ready to sleep. I put on my comfortable pajamas. I brush my teeth. I put cream on my hands like I do every night. I get into bed. I turn off the light. The darkness wraps around me softly. I think about tomorrow. Julian and Caroline are going to return. They are going to come here. They are going to knock on my door. They are going to demand explanations. They are going to scream. They are going to cry. They are going to use every manipulation tactic they know. They are going to tell me I am a bad mother, that I am selfish, that I'm going to die alone. But I know the truth. I know that what I did was not bad. It was necessary. It was urgent. It was the only way to save myself before disappearing completely into the needs of others. I fall asleep with that certainty. I fall asleep in peace. I wake up with the sun entering through the window. It is Saturday. It is 7 near in the morning. I get up rested. I didn't have nightmares. I didn't wake up at midnight with anxiety. I slept deeply like a person without emotional debts. I make coffee toast. I sit at my table. I eat while looking out the window. The orange cat is back on the fence. Mrs. Higgins waters her plants. Everything is normal. Everything is as it should be. At 10 euro in the morning, there's a knock on the door. Loud pounding, insistent, annoying. I know who it is. I walk to the door slowly. There is no rush. I breathe deep. I prepare myself. I open it. Julian and Caroline are standing in front of me. Julian has a face red with fury. Caroline has eyes swollen from crying. Behind them are suitcases. They came straight from the airport. Julian speaks first. His voice is a contained scream. "How could you, Mom? How could you leave us stranded like that? Do you have any idea what we went through? Do you have any idea of the humiliation?" "Good morning, Julian. Good morning, Caroline. Come in." They stay standing without moving. They expected an apology. They expected tears. They expected the mom who always caves. They did not expect this calm. "Are you going to let us in or what?" Caroline says with a cutting voice. I step aside. They enter, pushing the suitcases. They stand in the middle of my living room, looking at me as if I were a stranger. And perhaps I am. Perhaps the Eleanor they knew no longer exists. Sit down, I tell them. We need to talk. We don't want to sit. Julian says, we want an explanation. We want to know what the hell happened to you. Why did you decide to ruin our vacation? Why did you decide to make us look like criminals? I sit in my armchair. I look at them. I really see them for the first time in a long while. Julian with his expensive clothes, his brand name shoes, his watch that I know cost more than $2,000. Caroline with her designer bag, her expensive sunglasses on her head, her ivory dress that probably cost more than what I spend on clothes in a year. I see them, and I see two people who have never had to worry about money, who have never had to choose between paying the electric bill or buying medicine, who have never had to wear the same clothes for years because they cannot afford new ones. Julian walks from one side of my living room to the other like a caged animal. His steps are heavy. Furious Caroline sits on the edge of the sofa with her arms crossed, looking at me with that expression of superiority she has always had, as if I were the maid who committed an unforgivable error. I'm going to ask you one more time, Mom. Julian says, stopping in front of me. Why didn't you send the money? Why did you leave us locked up there like criminals? What kind of mother does that? I adjust myself in my armchair. I cross my hands on my lap. I look them in the eye without blinking. My voice comes out calm, firm, without a tremor. The kind of mother who is tired. The kind of mother who finally realized she has spent 15 years being used. The kind of mother who decided her life matters too. Used, Caroline repeats with a bitter laugh. How dramatic, Eleanor. No one has used you. You have helped your family because that is how it is done. Because that is what mothers do. Mothers also deserve respect, Caroline. They also deserve consideration. They also deserve to be treated like people and not cash dispensing machines. Oh, please, she says, rolling her eyes. You have always had more than enough. You have always been able to help us. Why now, all of a sudden, do you turn into this selfish person? I get up from the armchair. I walk to my bedroom. They stay in the living room, not knowing what to do. I return with the shoebox, the box containing all the receipts, all the checks, all the evidence of 15 years of giving without receiving. I put the box on the coffee table. I open it. I take out the papers one by one. I lay them on the table, forming a mosaic of sacrifice. Do you see this? This is the check for your wedding, $15,000. This is the receipt for the down payment on your house, $30,000. This is the transfer for the car, $8,000. This is the trip to Europe, $6,000. This is the laptop, the furniture, the tuitions, the emergencies, the vacations, the whims. Julian approaches the table. He looks at the papers with a furrowed brow. Caroline remains on the sofa, but I can see her face change color. I keep taking out papers. I keep putting evidence on the table. Each receipt is a stab in my heart, but it is also a liberation. It is the truth exposed. It is the reality I never wanted to face. What $20,000, I say, finally. That is what I have given you in 15 years. $120,000 that came out of my pension from your father's savings, from the life insurance that was supposed to protect my old age. Julian picks up one of the papers. He looks at it as if it were the first time seeing it. Maybe it is. Maybe he never stopped to think where the money came from. Maybe for him it was always something infinite, something that simply existed without consequence. Mom, he starts to say, but I interrupt him. Do you know how many times you have invited me to dinner at your house in these 15 years? Julian, 3 times. 3 times in 15 years. Do you know how many times you have called me just to ask how I am without asking for anything? I can count them on one hand. Do you know, when was the last time I received a birthday gift that wasn't bought in a rush at a gas station? I don't remember because it has been too many years. That isn't fair, Caroline says, standing up from the sofa. We have busy lives. We have responsibilities. We can't be calling you all the time, but you can call me when you need money. Then you have time. Then you remember I exist. Julian drops the paper on the table. He runs his hands through his hair. I see something in his face I hadn't seen before. Is it shame? Is it guilt? I am not sure. Mom, I know we have depended on you a lot, I admit it. But I always thought you did it because you wanted to. You never told me it bothered you. You never said no. And that is the problem, Julian. I never said no because I was afraid. Afraid you would stop calling, afraid you would cut me out of your life, afraid of being completely alone. So I kept saying yes. I kept paying. I kept sacrificing until I became a shadow, until I forgot who Eleanor was, beyond being your mom. I walked to the window. I need space. I need air. The orange cat is still on its fence. Mrs. Higgins is folding laundry on her balcony. Life goes on outside regardless of the drama occurring in my living room. When your father died, I continued speaking without turning to see them. I was destroyed. Not only because I lost him, but because I realized I no longer had a purpose. You two were married. Mia was small, but you took care of her. You didn't need me anymore. Or so I thought. But then you started asking for help and I clung to that. It gave me a reason to go on. It made me feel useful. It made me feel necessary. I turned to face them again. The tears finally start to fall, but I don't wipe them away. Let them see. Let them see the pain I have carried in silence for years. But necessary is not the same as loved. Useful is not the same as valued. It took me 20 years to understand the difference. It took a call at 2 a.m. demanding $9,000 to finally wake up. Caroline sits down again. Her expression of superiority has vanished. Now she just looks uncomfortable. She looks elsewhere at the wall, at any place that isn't my face. Julian sits too. He sinks into the sofa with slumped shoulders. He seems smaller, suddenly more human, more vulnerable. I didn't know you felt that way, Mom, he says in a low voice. I never imagined because you never asked. Because you never stopped to think how all this affected me. Because for you, I was always the strong mom who could handle everything, who always had money, who always had a solution. I sit in my armchair again. Tiredness hits me suddenly. It isn't physical tiredness, it is emotional tiredness. It is years of endurance falling off my shoulders, all at the same time. 3 days ago, I canceled your authorized card, Julian. I canceled the monthly transfer of $2,500 I sent you. I blocked your access to my account. And yesterday, I booked a trip to Santa Fe, a 10-day trip, a trip that costs $200, a trip I am going to take alone for me without feeling guilty. The silence that follows is dense, heavy. I can hear the wall clock ticking the seconds. I can hear the traffic on the street. I can hear my own breathing. You can't do that, Caroline says. Finally, that transfer. We depend on that money. We have expenses. We have the mortgage. You have jobs. You have salaries. You have the ability to live within your means. What you don't have is a right to my money. Not anymore. But Mom Julian says, what are we going to do? We can't pay everything without your help. You are going to have to learn. You are going to have to adjust. You are going to have to do what millions of people do every day. Live on what you earn. This is ridiculous, Caroline says, standing up again. Eleanor, you are his mother. It is your responsibility. My responsibility was to raise him, feed him, educate him, love him. I did all that. Julian is 40 years old, Caroline. 40. My responsibility ended a long time ago. What I have been doing is too much. It is unsustainable. It is self-destructive. I stand up too. I face them. My voice rises in volume for the first time in this conversation. And another thing, don't ever speak to me as if I were your employee again. Don't ever treat me as if my only value were financial. If you want to have a relationship with me, it is going to be a real relationship with respect, with reciprocity, with true love, or there is going to be no relationship. Julian stands up. He walks toward me. For a moment, I think he's going to hug me, but he stops halfway as if there were an invisible wall between us. Mom, what if we need you? What if there is a real emergency? Then you are going to have to solve it like adults. You are going to have to use your savings. You are going to have to get a loan. You are going to have to make sacrifices like I have done for years. Caroline grabs her bag. She walks to the door. She turns before leaving. You are going to regret this, Eleanor. You are going to end up alone. You are going to realize you need your family more than your family needs you. Her words are designed to hurt me, to make me doubt, to make me feel guilty. And they do hurt, but not as much as it hurt waking up every morning feeling empty. Not as much as it hurt watching my bank account dwindle while my purpose evaporated. Maybe you are right, Caroline. Maybe I end up alone. But I prefer to be alone and at peace than accompanied and miserable. I prefer to be alone with dignity than surrounded by people who only see me as a resource. Caroline leaves, slamming the door. Julian stays standing in the middle of my living room. We look at each other in silence. I see tears in his eyes. They are the first tears I've seen from him since he was a child. I'm sorry, Mom, he says with a broken voice. I'm sorry I didn't realize. I'm sorry I used you. I'm sorry I didn't value you. I am sorry too, Julian. I am sorry I didn't set boundaries sooner. I am sorry I allowed this to go so far. I am sorry I wasn't more honest with you about how I felt. He comes closer. This time, he does hug me. It is a clumsy hug, uncomfortable, filled with years of emotional distance. But it is something. It is a beginning. Or maybe it is an end. I am not sure yet. He pulls away. He wipes his tears with the back of his hand. I need time to process this. Mom, I need to think. I don't know what I need. Take all the time you need, Julian. I am not going anywhere. Well, I am going to Santa Fe in 3 weeks, but after that, I will be here, waiting to see if we can build something real, something honest, something not based on money. He nods. He walks to the door. He stops with his hand on the knob. Mom, I do love you. I mean it. Not just because I need your money. I love you for real. I love you too, Julian. I have always loved you. That is why it is so important that this changes, because love cannot be unilateral. Love requires balance. He nods again. He leaves. I hear his steps going down the stairs. I hear him walking away. I stay standing in the middle of my living room, surrounded by papers, surrounded by evidence, surrounded by my past. I close the door. I lean against it. I let the tears flow freely now. I cry for the lost years. I cry for the damaged relationship. I cry for the woman I was and no longer want to be. I cry for the woman I will be and haven't met yet. I cry until there are no more tears, until my body is empty of everything except exhaustion. I crawl to my bedroom. I throw myself on the bed without taking off my clothes. I close my eyes. I sleep deeply. I wake up hours later. It is already night. The room is dark. I get up slowly. My body aches as if I had run a marathon. I walk to the kitchen. I make tea. I sit at the table with the steaming mug between my hands. The phone vibrates. It is a message from Mia. Grandma, Dad called me. He told me what happened. I am proud of you. I know it was hard, but you did the right thing. I love you. I smile for the first time all day. I reply, thank you, sweetie. Your support means everything to me. I love you too. I drink my tea slowly. I look out the window into the night. The city lights shine in the distance. I hear the constant murmur of traffic. Life continues. The world keeps turning. And I am still here, stronger, clearer, more myself. The following days pass in a kind of fog. Julian doesn't call. Caroline doesn't call. It is the longest silence we have had in 15 years. At first it scares me. It makes me doubt. Did I do the right thing? Was I too harsh? Did I lose them forever? But then I remember the box of receipts. I remember the $120. I remember the sleepless nights worrying about how I was going to pay my own rent after sending them money. I remember the loneliness of birthdays spent alone, and the guilt fades. 1 week after the confrontation, I am at the grocery store buying vegetables when I see an older woman. She must be near 80. She is alone, choosing tomatoes with care, putting them in her canvas bag. She has completely white hair pulled back in a bun. She wears thick glasses. Her clothes are simple but clean, well cared for. I watch her while she pays for her groceries. She smiles at the cashier. They exchange a few words. She laughs. It is a genuine laugh. Free. She walks away slowly, but with dignity, with purpose. I think I want to be like her. I want to reach 80 years old, laughing at the grocery store, feeling complete, feeling at peace. I do not want to reach 80 years old, resentful, empty, broken for having given everything without keeping anything for myself. I finish my shopping. I return to my apartment. I put everything away with care. I make my lunch. I eat calmly. I wash the dishes. Everything is routine. Everything is normal. But there is something different. There is lightness. There is room to breathe. In the afternoon, I sit with my laptop. I review the itinerary for the Santa Fe trip. I read about every place we are going to visit. Bundelier, the ancient cliff dwellings in the canyon. TAPBLO, the multi-story adobe buildings. The Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. The art markets, the traditional cooking classes. Each description excites me more. I make a list of things I need for the trip. Comfortable clothes for walking, good shoes, a new backpack because the one I have is frayed, a sun hat, sunscreen, a camera because the one on my phone isn't very good. I look at the list. Everything adds up to near $500. The Julian of before would have used that on one dinner. The Caroline of before would have spent that on a pair of shoes. But for me, it is an investment. It is taking care of myself. It is preparing for something that is only mine. The next day, I go shopping. I go to an outdoor apparel store. A young saleswoman approaches. "How can I help you, ma'am?" I tell her about my trip. Her eyes light up. How exciting. My grandma travels alone too and says they are the best experiences of her life. She helps me choose comfortable pants shirts that breathe a vest with many pockets. Everything is practical but good quality. I try everything on. I look in the mirror. I look like a traveler, like an adventurer, like someone who is alive. I pay with my card without feeling guilt, without hearing the little voice that says that money could be sent to Julian. That voice finally fell silent, finally went away. Then I go to a shoe store. I find ones perfect for walking. The salesman explains about arch support cushioning durability. I try them on. I walk around the store. They are comfortable. They are perfect. They cost $150. 6 months ago, I would have walked out of the store. I would have said my old shoes still worked. I would have saved those $150 for Julian's next emergency. But today, I buy them. I buy them without hesitation. Back home with my bags in hand, I feel different. I feel lighter, stronger, more present, as if I were finally inhabiting my own life instead of observing it from the outside. That night, I receive a call from Mia. "Grandma, can I come see you tomorrow? I want to talk to you." "Of course, sweetie. Come whenever you want." The next day, Mia arrives early. She brings pastries from a bakery she knows I like. I hug her tight. She smells of fresh perfume of youth, of the future. We sit at the kitchen table. I make coffee. We cut the pastries. We eat in silence for a moment. "Comfortable, easy grandma." "I came to ask for your forgiveness," she says finally. "Forgiveness?" "Why, sweetie? For having been part of the problem, for having asked for money so many times, for not having valued what you did for us, for not seeing that you were sacrificing yourself." I take her hand across the table. Her fingers are young, smooth, without the age spots that cover mine. "Mia, you are different. You at least call me. You at least ask how I am. You see me as a person." "But it isn't enough, Grandma. I should have done more. I should have defended you when Mom spoke badly of you. I should have told Dad that he was abusing your generosity. You are his daughter. It is complicated to be in the middle." "I understand." She shakes her head. Tears start to roll down her cheeks. "No, Grandma. I don't want excuses. I want you to know that I realize it. I want you to know that I admire what you did. I want you to know that if I were your age, I hope to have your courage." I get up. I round the table. I hug her from behind. I lean my cheek against her head. "You are a good girl, Mia. You have a beautiful heart. Don't let anyone change that." She turns in the chair. She hugs me tight. We cry together, but these tears are different. They are tears of real connection, of true love, of something that is not contaminated by money or obligation. When we pull apart, I show her my new clothes. I tell her about the trip. Her eyes shine with genuine excitement. "Grandma, that's wonderful. You are going to have an incredible experience. You have to send me photos of everything." "I will, sweetie. I promise to keep you updated on every moment." She stays the whole morning. We talk about her school, about her dreams of being a doctor, about her boyfriend who seems to be a nice boy, about her friends, about life. We talk like we haven't talked in years, like grandmother and granddaughter, like friends, like women. Before leaving, she gives me an envelope. "Don't open it until I leave." I hug her again. I watch her go down the stairs. I see her disappear. I return to my apartment. I open the envelope. Inside is a handmade card. It has flowers painted with watercolors. Inside it says, "Grandma, here is $200. It is all I have saved. I want you to use it on your trip. Buy yourself something nice. Eat in a fancy restaurant. Do it for me. Do it for you. I love you more than words can express. Your granddaughter who admires you, Mia." I sit in the armchair with the card in my hands. I read the words over and over. $200 for a college student. It is a fortune. It is sacrifice. It is real love. I cry again. But these are good tears. Tears that heal. Tears that rebuild. I put the card in a special place on my nightstand next to Arthur's photo, next to the things I love most, the things I value most. The days pass. The date of the trip approaches. Julian has not called. It has been 2 weeks since the confrontation. 2 weeks of silence. Sometimes I wonder if he is ever going to call, if we are ever going to be able to rebuild something, but then I remember that I cannot control his decisions. I can only control mine. And my decision is to live. My decision is to be happy. My decision is to honor Arthur's memory by being the woman he wanted me to be. A complete woman, a happy woman, a free woman. 3 days before the trip, I am packing my suitcase when there's a knock on the door. I open it. It is Julian. He is alone. No Caroline. He has a tired face, red eyes, as if he hasn't slept well. "Hi, Mom. Hello, Julian. Can I come in?" I step aside. He enters slowly. He sits on the sofa without me asking him to. Julian sits on the edge of the sofa, hands between his knees, staring at the floor. He has the posture of someone defeated, of someone who has been thinking a lot, of someone who is finally facing uncomfortable truths. I sit in my armchair. I say nothing. I wait. I have learned that silence sometimes says more than 1,000 words. I have learned that sometimes the best thing is to let the other person find their way to the conversation. After what seems like an eternity, Julian looks up. His eyes meet mine. I see something there I hadn't seen in years. Vulnerability, honesty, maybe even shame. I've been thinking a lot. Mom, these 2 weeks have been the hardest of my life. Caroline is furious. She says you ruined our lives. She says you are selfish and cruel. But I can't stop thinking about everything you said about all those papers you put on the table about the $120,000. He pauses. He runs his hands over his face. When he speaks again, his voice cracks. I had never added it up, Mom. I never stopped to think how much we had asked you for over the years. For me, it was always just another help, just another favor. I never thought about the total. I never thought about what it was costing you. I bite my tongue. I want to interrupt. I want to say I know. That's why I did what I did. But I hold back. I let him continue. This is important. This is necessary. I talked to my boss a week ago. I asked him for a raise. He told me it isn't possible right now. So I went home and sat down with Caroline. I told her we had to make a budget, that we had to see exactly how much we earn and how much we spend. She didn't want to. She said it wasn't necessary, that you were going to come to your senses, that everything would go back to normal. He makes another pause, this one longer. I see how he struggles with the words, how he looks for a way to say something that clearly hurts. But I insisted, Mom, we made the budget. And you know what? We discovered that without your monthly transfer, without your constant help, we are in the red, that we have been living way beyond our means for years, that the only reason we haven't gone under is because you have been sustaining our life with your money. He gets up from the sofa, walks to the window, stays standing there, looking out, hands in his pockets. I felt like a failure, Mom, like a 40-year-old man who can't support his family without his mother's help, like a child who never grew up, like someone who has been using the person who loves him most. I get up too. I walk toward him. I stand by his side in front of the window. The orange cat is on the fence again, always there, constant, reliable. You aren't a failure, Julian. You are someone who made mistakes. You are someone who got used to having a safety net that was too comfortable. You are someone who needs to learn to live within his means. But you are not a failure. He turns toward me. Tears run freely down his face now. He doesn't try to hide them. He doesn't try to wipe them away. Mom, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you a long time ago. Forgive me. Forgive me for using you. Forgive me for not valuing you. Forgive me for treating you like a bank instead of my mother. Forgive me for all the forgotten birthdays, for all the ignored calls, for all the times I only showed up when I needed something. I hug him. I hug him tight, like when he was a boy, like when he fell off his bike, like when he cried for his father. I hug him and feel his body shake with sobs. I forgive you, Julian. I forgive you because I love you, because you are my son, because I know you can change, because I know deep down you have your father's heart. We stay there hugged for a long time. I don't know how many minutes pass. It doesn't matter. This moment is important. This moment is healing. This moment is the beginning of something new. When we finally separate, Julian wipes his face with his shirt sleeve. He breathes deep. He looks at me with red but clear eyes. Mom, I want you to know something. I talked to Caroline last night. I told her things have to change, that we are going to sell the new car and buy a used one, that we are going to cancel the gym memberships we never use, that we are going to cook at home instead of eating out 5 times a week, that we are going to live on what we earn. And what did she say? She wasn't happy. She said, "You are brainwashing me, that I am choosing you over her." But I told her it isn't about choosing. It is about doing the right thing. It is about being responsible adults. I sit in my armchair again. Julian sits on the sofa. There is less tension now. There is more openness. There is possibility. Julian, I want you to understand something. What I did wasn't to punish you. It was to save myself. I reached a point where if I kept giving without receiving, if I kept sacrificing without limit, I was going to disappear completely. I was going to become nothing. No one. I understand, Mom, I understand now. And I want you to know I am going to work on this. I am going to work on being a better son. Not just financially, but in everything. I want to invite you to dinner. I want to call you just to know how you are. I want you to know my family for real, not just when we need something. I would like that very much. I see your suitcase there. Is your trip soon? In 3 days? 10 days in Santa Fe? He smiles. It is the first genuine smile I've seen in years. Can I ask you something? Mom, are you excited? I am terrified. I haven't traveled alone in years. I haven't done something just for me in years. But yes, I am excited. I am ready to live a little. You deserve it, Mom. You deserve that and much more. We spend the rest of the afternoon talking. We talk about real things, about how he feels about his job, about his fears, about his dreams, about Mia, and how proud he is of her, about Caroline and the problems they have in their marriage. We talk like we haven't talked in decades. When he leaves, it is already night. He hugs me again at the door. This hug is different. It is lighter. It is more honest. It is the hug of a son who finally sees his mother as a person. Mom, one last thing. Can I take you to the airport? The question surprises me. It catches me off guard. I feel tears forming in my eyes. I would love that, Julian. I would love that very much. He leaves. I close the door. I lean against it. I smile in the darkness of my apartment. Maybe there is hope. Maybe it is possible to rebuild. Maybe the pain was worth it. The next 2 days I spend finishing preparing everything for the trip. I go to the bank to take out cash. I go to the pharmacy to buy medicine just in case. I go to the supermarket to fill my refrigerator with food I can eat when I return. I do everything calmly, carefully, enjoying every step of the process. The night before the trip, I can almost not sleep. It isn't bad anxiety. It is anticipation. It is excitement. It is the sensation of standing on the threshold of something new, of something important, of something transformative. I get up early. I shower calmly. I dress in my new travel clothes. I look in the mirror. I look different. I look younger. I look alive. The doorbell rings at 9 in the morning. It is Julian. He comes alone. He carries my suitcase to his car. He drives to the airport while I look out the window. The city passes fast. The streets I know by heart, the familiar buildings. Everything looks different today. Everything looks full of possibility. At the airport, Julian insists on accompanying me as far as he can. He helps me with check-in. He helps me with my bag. We walk together toward the security zone. This is where I say goodbye, Mom says when we reach the line. Thank you for bringing me Julian. It means a lot to me. He hugs me tight. Mom, enjoy every moment. Take lots of photos, eat everything you want, buy everything you like. Just please live. I will, my love. I promise you. And Mom, one more thing. When you get back, I want you to come to dinner at the house. A real dinner. I am going to cook. We are going to sit all together. We are going to talk. We are going to be a real family." "I would love that, Julian." He kisses my forehead. He leaves. I watch him walk away through the airport crowd. I see him turn once to wave goodbye. I see him disappear. I go through security. I arrive at my gate. I sit to wait. I take out my phone. I have a message from Mia. "Have a good trip, Grandma. You are my hero." "I love you to the moon and back." I have a message from Julian. "Thank you, Mom, for everything. But above all, thank you for teaching me that it is never too late to change." I smile. I put the phone away. I look around the airport. I see families. I see couples. I see solo travelers like me. Everyone going somewhere. Everyone looking for something. Everyone living. They call my flight. I get in line. I board the plane. I find my window seat. I buckle my seatbelt. I close my eyes as the plane starts to move. I think of Arthur. I think of how proud he would be of me. I think of how he would be smiling, telling me it was about time. "Eleanor, it was about time you lived for yourself." The plane takes off. I feel my stomach drop. I open my eyes. I look out the window. The city becomes small beneath me. Houses look like toys. Cars look like ants. Everything becomes insignificant from this height. The clouds wrap around us. Everything becomes white. Then we break through the cloud layer and the infinitely blue sky appears. The sun shines with an intensity that hurts the eyes. I close the shade halfway. I settle into my seat. I smile. I am flying. I am going towards something new. I am alive. The flight lasts 4 hours. I read a magazine. I drink orange juice. I look out the window. I think about everything that has happened in the last 3 weeks. I think about the call at 2 in the morning that changed everything. I think about the decision I made. I think about the pain, the tears, the confrontation. I think about the liberation. We arrive in Santa Fe at midday. The airport is small, welcoming. I walk out with my suitcase. The heat hits me immediately. It is a dry heat different from the city. It smells of sagebrush, of mountains, of something ancient and deep. There's a man with a sign that says the name of the tour company. I approach. He welcomes me with a huge smile. There are 6 other people waiting. All seniors, all traveling alone, all with that same expression of excitement mixed with nervousness. We get into a van. The guide introduces himself. His name is Adrian. He's about 50. Kind face, calm voice. He tells us about Santa Fe. As we drive toward the hotel, he talks about the Pueblo history, the food, the traditions kept alive. The hotel is beautiful, adobe style with a central courtyard full of flowers. My room is small but perfect. It has a comfortable bed, a clean bathroom, a window looking out onto the courtyard. I unpack my suitcase calmly. I hang my clothes. I arrange my shoes. I mark my territory. That afternoon, we have the first group meeting. We sit in the hotel courtyard. Adrian explains the itinerary for the next 10 days. Each day sounds better than the last. Ruins, canyons, markets, cooking classes, art workshops. The other travelers introduce themselves. There is a woman named Stella. She is 68 from Chicago, just widowed a year ago. This is her first trip alone. There's a man named Victor. He is 75 from Seattle. Says he always wanted to see the Southwest, but his wife preferred the beach. There's a woman named Margaret. She is 70 from Boston, never married, dedicated her life to caring for her elderly parents. Both died last year. Now she is discovering who she is without them. Each story is different, but they all have something in common. We are all here looking for something. We are all here trying to live. When my turn comes, I introduce myself. I am Eleanor. I am 72 years old. I am from the city. I am a widow. I have a son and a granddaughter, and I am here because I decided my life belongs to me. I say no more. I don't need to say more. Everyone nods as if they understood perfectly, as if everyone had their own version of my story. That night, we dined together at a restaurant on the plaza. We tried tamales, green chile stew, blue corn enchiladas. Everything is delicious. Everything is new. Everything is an adventure. I laugh more at that dinner than I have laughed in months, maybe in years. The following days pass in a beautiful mix of experiences. We visit Bandelier National Monument. We climb the wooden ladders to the ancient cave dwellings. From up there, I see the whole canyon. I see mountains stretching as far as the eye can see. I feel the wind on my face. I feel the sun on my skin. I feel small, but also immense. Adrian tells us about the ancestral Puebloans, about their advanced civilization, about how they built this city in the canyon nearly 1,000 years ago. I like that idea of circular time. Nothing really ends. Everything transforms. I am transforming too. I am returning to myself. We visit Taos Pueblo. The adobe structures are more impressive than I imagined. Brown, massive, frozen in time against the blue sky. We see the Rio Grande Gorge. The water looks like a ribbon far below. I laugh like a child feeling the vertigo and the thrill. Stella takes a picture of me. I look happy. We visit artisan workshops. We see how they make pottery, polishing the black clay until it shines like glass. We see how they weave rugs on looms. I buy gifts for Mia, for Julian, for myself. I buy a hand-carved wooden owl. It is painted with impossible colors, turquoise, pink, and yellow. The artisan tells me the owl represents wisdom. It represents seeing in the dark. I hold it carefully. This owl is mine. This owl is me. We take the traditional cooking class. We learn to make red chili sauce. It has so many ingredients. Each one must be roasted, ground, mixed at the exact moment. The cook tells us the sauce is like life complicated, requires patience, but the result is worth every second of effort. We spend the evenings on the plaza. We sit on the benches under the trees. We watch families walking. We watch children running. We watch couples in love. We watch life in all its splendor. One night, Margaret tells me her full story. She tells me how she dedicated 40 years to caring for her parents, how she never had children because there was no time, how when they died, she felt lost, empty, without purpose. But then I realized something she tells me. I realized I was still alive. I still had time. I could still do things. This is my 5th trip in 2 years, she says with pride. And every trip gives me back a piece of myself, a piece I thought was lost forever. I hug her. I cry on her shoulder. She cries on mine. We don't need words. We understand. We understand what it is to recover oneself. We understand what it is to be reborn after having been dead in life. The last days of the trip go by too fast. We visit the Loreto Chapel with its miraculous staircase. It has no center support. It has survived for over a century. I put my hand on the wood. I feel the smooth texture. I feel the faith holding it up. I think I am going to survive too. I am going to keep standing. The last night we have a farewell dinner. We all share what this trip meant to us. Victor says he found joy again. Stella says she found courage. Margaret says she found community. When my turn comes, I stand up. I found Eleanor. I say I found the woman I had forgotten existed. I found the woman who has a right to be happy, and I am not going to lose her again. Everyone applauds, some cry. Adrian tells us we are his favorite group of the year. The day of return, I arrive at the airport loaded with souvenirs, gifts, photos. My suitcase weighs more, but I feel lighter. The flight back I spend looking at the photos on my camera. There are the ruins against the sky, the gorge bridge, the markets full of color. There is a photo of me in front of the adobe church. I look happy. I look complete. I look like me. I land at the airport at sunset. I get my bag. I go out to the arrivals area. There is Julian, and next to him is Mia, both holding balloons that say, "Welcome home." I run toward them. The three of us hug. It is a long, tight, real hug. Mia tells me I look radiant. Julian tells me I look 10 years younger. I tell them I feel reborn. In the car on the way home, I tell them everything. I show them photos. I talk about my new friends. I talk about the places I saw. I talk about the Eleanor I rediscovered. They take me to my apartment. Julian carries my suitcase all the way up. Mia opens the windows to let in fresh air. Both stay for a while. We drink tea. We eat the Bisco anise cookies I brought from Santa Fe. We talk, we laugh, we are family. Before leaving, Julian reminds me, "Dinner is this Saturday, Mom, at my house at 7. You don't have to bring anything, just you. I will be there, Julian, I promise." They leave. I stay alone in my apartment. But this loneliness is different. It isn't emptiness. It is fullness. It is peace. It is freedom. I unpack slowly. I take out my dirty clothes. I take out the gifts. I take out the wooden owl. I put it on my nightstand next to Arthur's photo. They look good together, the past and the present. I shower. I put on my pajamas. I get into bed. I close my eyes. I think about everything that has happened since that call at 2 a.m. I think about the pain. I think about the decision. I think about the transformation. I think about the Eleanor. I was the one who said yes to everything, the one who sacrificed without limit. That Eleanor no longer exists. She died sometime in the last few weeks, and that is okay. I think about the Eleanor I am now, the one who sets boundaries, the one who values herself. This Eleanor is just being born, but she is already stronger. She is already clearer. She is already more real. I open my eyes. I look at the ceiling. I speak out loud as if Arthur could hear me. I did it, my love. I finally did it. I finally put myself first. Saturday arrives. I get ready with care. I put on a peach cold dress I bought in Santa Fe. I do my hair. I put on perfume. I look in the mirror. I look good. I look happy. I look dignified. I arrive at Julian's house at 7 sharp. I knock on the door. Julian opens. He is wearing an apron. It smells of home cooking. He hugs me. "Welcome, Mom." I enter. The table is set. There are flowers in the center. Candles are lit. Mia is helping in the kitchen. Caroline is sitting in the living room. She looks uncomfortable, but she stands up when I enter. "Hello, Eleanor," she says with a neutral voice. "Hello, Caroline." I respond with the same tone. The dinner is delicious. Julian cooked roast chicken with rosemary and roasted vegetables. He made rice. He made a salad. Everything is perfect. We eat together. At first, the conversation is tense, forced, but little by little, it softens. Mia talks about her classes. Julian talks about a new project at work. He talks about how he is learning to manage his money better, how they sold the luxury SUV and bought a sensible sedan, how they are eating at home more. Even Caroline talks a little. She says she started looking for a job, that she has been at home too long, that she needs something of her own. She doesn't look at me when she says this, but she says it, and it is something. After dinner, we stay in the living room. I drink tea. They drink coffee. I show them the printed photos from Santa Fe. I tell them stories behind every image. When I leave, Julian walks me to the car. "Thanks for coming, Mom. I know it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, Julian, but it was important, and I am willing to keep trying if you are too. I am Mom. I promise you we are going to be a better family." I hug him one last time. I drive home with a full heart. It isn't perfect. There is still pain. There is still work to do, but there is hope. There is possibility. There is real love trying to bloom. That night before sleeping, I write in my journal. I write about the trip. I write about the dinner. I write about everything I have learned. And at the end, I write this: Today, I do not need permission to live. Today, I do not need to sacrifice myself to be loved. Today, I understand that true love does not cost everything. True love gives and receives. True love respects and values. I close the journal. I turn off the light. I fall asleep smiling. Tomorrow is a new day. And I am a new Eleanor, an Eleanor who finally loves herself as much as she loves others. An Eleanor who is finally